Have you ever wondered, as you walked around your library, am I getting full use out of all the materials that my library has to offer? Am I just using the books? Are there programs? What about Libby? Are there other things I don't know about? You'll find out in this video. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cmoore, and this is Cmoore-Books. As you saw from the thumbnail of today's video, we're talking about the amazingness of libraries. And as a children's librarian, I actually just started my first full-time job as the director of youth services at my local library. I'm all about libraries, so let's get right into it. If you've seen any of my videos before, you will know that I love the PowerPoint because there's so much amazing information that you can share in a PowerPoint. So, start with the question. Are you fully using your library resources? Are you? Are you really? Are you sure? Because there might be some that you're missing out on that are actually really amazing. So physical materials at your library. You got the books, of course. A lot of libraries also have music like CDs at the library. In case you didn't know. You've got physical CDs, audiobooks, and there is this new thing called playaways that are coming to libraries now. So it's sort of like your phone or an MP3 device, but it's literally just the one audiobook. You plug in your headphone and then you play the book. So that's another way to access audiobooks. So y'all check out to see if your library also has a way to access audiobooks through playaways and also on CD. And then, of course, DVDs. Sometimes, like, you can't get it on streaming and you don't want to pay for it. And you can find some of your classic things that you cannot find online anywhere. And they have them at the library. I found good old Wishbone at my library recently. And I had a trip down Nostalgia Lane. And I will link that down in the description of the video. My trip. Because it was an amazing one. And then there are like board games that you can use at the library. I know we just got a grant at my library to start a video game club that also includes board games as well. And there are just regular board games that we already had at the library that the teens can use and anyone can use when they're at the library. And then we just got more. So super excited for that to start in September. And then there's puzzles, because who doesn't love a good puzzle? Well, people who don't like puzzles. But you truly have not spent enough time on a puzzle if you don't like puzzles. And then you have kits. A lot of times these are in the children's section, but there's usually a book involved, some kind of activity, and it's just an interactive experience that you can do with you and your kids. So, amazing things. And then you have library programming. I love library programming. So there's children's programming because we love to gear towards the children, of course. You got story times, you have your summer reading program. That just ended for the summer for most libraries because kids are heading back to school. I know a lot of people are not wanting to think about that, students and teachers alike, and I'm sorry to bring it up. One of the things that I run that I've been doing for the past year as a volunteer and will continue doing is a tween book club to help inspire kids to want to read. And then you got stuff for the teens because you don't want to leave the teens out because you want to start them young with the children and then keep them coming back as teens. So at our library we have Teen Scene, and now we're gonna be having the video game club, which is, I don't think this is on my PowerPoint. And I know other libraries have manga clubs, and chess clubs. And of course, there's also programs for adults. There's adult book club. I attend the one at my local library that I work at. There are crafting activities and other amazing, wonderful programs for adults. So check out the programming at your local library. Because it's gonna be wide and varying depending on where you're at. And it's free. So that's the amazing thing about the library. It's all free. And then you can use your library spaces. You can use there are study rooms. A lot of libraries have study rooms. And then you can reserve rooms for group meetings. Like if you want to meet like for your local youth group or a big activity with your local, I don't know why Weight Watchers just came to mind. I don't know why you want to meet here. But you could. Any like outreach event for your local, any organizations, you can meet at the library. I know sometimes some libraries will charge a fee. So like it'll just depend on the library by library basis. And then you can use the library's Wi-Fi with your own device. But you can also use the library's computers with your library card. Yeah. And you can print things from the library's computers. Now you will have to pay to print things at the library, but it's going to be a lot cheaper than trying to print things at like Staples or things like that. They charge you an arm and a leg at Staples, and then they try to take your spleen. Not to say that Staples doesn't have great things, but they are pretty darn expensive. Whereas the library, they are very reasonable. And then one of my favorite things, Libby. Oh my goodness, I cannot tell you the wonderful things about, there are so many wonderful things about Libby. You've got ebooks on there. You've got audiobooks on there. And you can have more than one library card on there at a time. So, I currently have 5 library cards. Yeah, 5 library cards. So, in Pennsylvania, we have 2 major cities on either side of the state. So, the Free Library of Philadelphia and the Carnegie Library in Pittsburgh, they both let PA State residents have a library card if you're a PA State resident for free. And then I also have one for the system where I work at, and then the system, the county system that I live in. And then I have another one that I bought this card because it was close. In Maryland, just over the state border. And I needed a book for a book club, and that's how I got it. It was the best $18 I've ever spent. And what is great about Libby, is you can check to see the amount of copies that are at each library. Here's an example right here. I'm going to do a screen share. So let me start at the beginning. I'm going to put it up here in just a moment. Let me. So I'm going to search for Dusty Bowling. And we're going to look at the copies for insignificant events in the life of Cactus. And we're going to see what copies there are. So it's a 4-week wait at the Free Library of Philadelphia. Maryland Central Library is going to be available soon. There are none in the one system, one available in the Capital Area District Library, and 1 out of the 5 copies available at the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. So I could have one of those two right now. So that's the really nice thing. If you have multiple cards, you don't have to go into each library when you're looking for an item. So that's one of the benefits of having multiple cards, and you don't have to go from card to card to card, like from system to system. Sometimes you will if like a system literally doesn't have it. Like if I had searched for that under Franklin County, it wouldn't pop back anything, and then I wouldn't have been able to find it. But so most of the time you can find it in most systems. So yeah, multiple cards means many, many checkouts. Currently I have 11, and that's not the worst it's ever been. So yeah, this is one of the many wonderful benefits. And depending on which state you're in, you might have like, there might be major cities like in your state or wherever you might live that will allow you to get another library card. So yeah, and sometimes it might just be a small fee for a year, and they have a great audiobook selection or ebook selection if that is your jam. And there are also other wonderful digital services like Hoopla. And it is such a hoopla on Hoopla. So Hoopla has such an amazing thing. And depending on your library, they pay for a certain amount of checkouts for each patron, and you get that certain amount of checkouts per month, and they pay per checkout. But you have for my one library system that has Hoopla, I get 4 checkouts per month, and so I could use them on ebooks, I could use them on audiobooks, and it's an unlimited access. Like whatever's in there, I don't have to wait on it for anyone else. I can instantly borrow it 24/7, like it says up there with my library card. There's also movies on there. I have gotten Richie Rich, the one with Macaulay Culkin, like the OG with Macaulay Culkin through Hoopla. There's TV shows on there. You can also listen to music, like recently released music on there, CDs. I know I saw on there Speak Now, Taylor's version. They have comics on there and so much more. Like Hoopla has a lot to offer. So definitely see if your library offers Hoopla, because it is a lot of fun. And there are definitely other online and in-person library helps. And they will just vary depending on your library. And these include job and career assistance, homework assistance. Libraries will have a ton of resources online in the library. Sometimes there'll be programming and different things. I know one program that we offer at my library for homeschoolers is a homeschool bi-weekly, like twice a month, educational program. A lot of libraries will offer genealogical services, like through Ancestry or some other genealogy service. There's also community resources, ways that you can receive help if you need some help from your community. And there are so many other resources. Like I would be here for so long if I had listed them all. So those are just some of the wonderful, amazing resources that your library can offer you. if you have any questions about the library, please let me know. I would love to answer any questions that you have. If you want any more like in-depth information on any like one of these services, like different like any in-depth like tutorials or anything like that, please let me know and I will happily do a separate video for it. But yeah, uh thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe. Also click that like button. It really um helps my channel to grow and to get out there. And I really want as many people to see this video especially as possible, because I want everyone to be able to take full advantage of all of the wonderful library resources. And as they say, the librarian, the original search engine. We are. But I also want to say, remember who you are and where you live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.